Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just wanted to give some quick commentary on one of my favorite shows, Love and Hip Hop, but this specifically, the Love and Hip Hop family reunion. And I wanted to kind of give my opinion on Karlie Redd and her daughter. So as you guys can see in this series, and also I believe the last season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, there was like some contention in the relationship. And I believe her name is Jazz. Jazz had some problems with Karlie because of how she grew up. She believed Karlie was an absent mother. And even at this stage in her life, she still longs to have a relationship with Karlie. And she believes that Karlie wasn't a good mom to her. And on the other end, Karlie she seems like she's not really taking into consideration what Jazz is saying, or acting like, things don't make sense, which, it kind of does. But I see a lot of comments on social media and also on YouTube that Karlie just doesn't get it and she just doesn't understand. And I think it's something completely different than that. I have a completely different perspective on it. I feel like, first of all, I feel like Karlie does get it. I feel like she completely understands what Jazz is needing in the moment, and she knows what she can add to it. I think that Karlie's feeling probably a lot of shame, a lot of guilt about missing out on Jazz's life. And I think Karlie's taking on the perspective of a lot of Caribbean moms. Like, even though I may not have been there 100%, or maybe I wasn't as affectionate, or, or whatever reason, for some lacking, from my experience in the Caribbean culture, and maybe this can apply to all Black Americans, but as long as you had like a roof, you weren't barefoot on the street, there was no boogers coming out of your nose, you had new clothes on, you had a cell phone, as long as you were good, then there's nothing for you to worry about. Like, depression in the Caribbean household is not even a thing. It's like, don't even come this way when there's other people that's in a worse situation. So I think a little bit that's kind of influencing how Karlie's taking it. She made a comment saying that she sacrificed her whole life for Jazz, but she was really never there. She was always working. And when you put that in context, it's like, yeah, you might have sacrificed that for Jazz, but you also had moments where you were doing this for yourself too. But from her perspective, she sees that, yes, Jazz needs me now, but how can she even open her mouth to say that I wasn't a good mom when I made sure she had every single thing? And when I wasn't there, she knew that I was going and I was trying to get it for her. So that's how Karlie's looking at it. And I think for Jazz too, I think Jazz is also looking at it from a different perspective of, yeah, Mom, you did make sure that I had everything, I was taken care of, but you weren't there for me emotionally. And we know that, like, that emotional side, that's very important. Sometimes people prefer that over, gifts, especially if maybe if gift giving is not part of your love language. Maybe part of Karlie's to buy gifts for the ones she loves, but that might not be the same love language for Jazz. Jazz might prefer someone that spends quality time with her, or maybe even if you want to extend the gifts, maybe someone that does an act of service as a gift to her, but she may not value that. Look at the way she reacted to getting the teacup. She was just like, yeah, she values more spending time with her mom. So that's her perspective. And also, too, her perspective is kind of layered, and you can tell how her perspective, how her thoughts affect how she acts around her mom. Like, she specifically said that sometimes, she's a bitch towards her mom because she's upset. She has some sort of like resentment against her mom, which is understandable because, all this childhood stuff. So it's completely understandable, you know what I mean, having that resentment towards her. But at the same time, I think that in order for their relationship to work, two things need to happen. I feel like with Jazz, she's not processing what happened to her in childhood relating to her mom, and she's still in a place where she's back at that child's place, wanting these things from her mom, wanting to spend time with her mom, crying, those. And not saying it's bad to cry, because crying is healthy. It's a sort of catharsis. It's completely healthy. But in those specific moments, being so emotional, that is something that's coming up. And I think what's coming up is her feelings from the past. So I think for Jazz, she needs to before she can even start to work on her mom's relationship, she needs to work on herself first. Because when you are trying to move on, trying to get to the next stage, it's all about you. It's not based on what the other person did. Even if that other person did something to you, you have to kind of relate it all back to yourself. So I think that Jazz would benefit from going to therapy and kind of just like processing where she's at now and how she was feeling back then, because like I said, those feelings are the ones that are bringing up now, and she needs to be at a place of acceptance, knowing that she's no longer a child. So the same expectations she had for her mom then, she's not going to be able to maintain those expectations now for her mom. And also, too, she needs to accept that her mom just may not have the capacity to be that mom that she wants. Not every single person is going to fit that mom role like how we want our moms to be. Everyone's different, so Jazz needs to accept that. Yeah, you might want Karlie to hang out with you every day, to do all of that, but does she even have that in her? Did she get that growing up? You know what I mean? Like, is that her limitation? So I think Jazz needs to accept that, like, the way she wants her relationship to be with her mother, it may not ever work that way, and we need to work to the levels to get to it. Start out small. If maybe a relationship is something you want with your mom and you guys want to spend more time, let's go ahead and increase that time. Let's find out what's going on that's preventing from spending more time. Because there's always a deeper issue. It's never just the surface issue. And I think that once Jazz gets to processing and gets to kind of accepting a little bit of acceptance with how she wants her relationship to be with her mom, I feel like she can come into it in a different place, and she'll be able to communicate with her mother more of how she feels, because it's not just, oh, I'm upset because you never spent time with me. No, it's going to be like, I'm upset because when I was a child, I wanted you I wanted you there and you weren't, and this has made me blah 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 blah, and I want to blah blah blah. She'll be able to find the words to really explain how she's feeling. And I also think that it would also benefit for Karlie to have some individual therapy for herself too, because like I said, I feel like she's carrying a lot of shame, a lot of guilt about not being there for Jazz, and she needs to be okay with her decision, because I think one part of her being a little resistant towards Jazz is that she's just not ready to face it. So I think her going to therapy on her own too and kind of like processing everything would be such a good lead up to them just kind of coming at it together. And I think once they both do their work, they should be fine. But I just wanted to give a little bit commentary on it because, like I said, I just been seeing some messages on social media and some comments where it's like, Karlie doesn't get it. Karlie doesn't get it. Oh my gosh, she's such a bad mom. And it's like, no, like she 100% gets it. But there's different factors, and it's so much deeper than just the surface level. It's very deep, and I can tell that from just looking at it from a viewer. But thank you so much for watching my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.